When you're in Formula One, you have to be ready to make hard decisions, but this one is hard even for us. The decision that McLaren made to release Daniel Ricciardo from his contract by paying a fine such that team would no longer have the driver in 2023 triggered a domino effect that stretched to the other teams competing in the category. Have you heard the news? Haas boss Günther Steiner has just done something that is downright insane. There are several seats for the following year that have not yet been filled, which has prompted uncertainty regarding the future of Australian. So you're probably wondering what just happened. Let's find out. Ricciardo's final year of contract with McLaren has been terminated, and as a result, he will depart the team at the outcome of the unsatisfactory 2022 season. He's currently considering how he may secure a seat in the 2023 driver lineup, despite the limited number of openings that are currently available. The 2021 season was a disaster for Haas, as they finished with no points. However, they have made significant progress thus far in this season. They brought back Kevin Magnussen to replace Nikita Mazepin, and the Dane has been fantastic in his role. One of the challenges that they were up against at the beginning of the year was Mick Schumacher's performance. The young German driver had a strong showing in his first year of competition, but he was unable to live up to the hype this time around. The first occasion in his entire F1 career that he finished in the points was at Silverstone, and he followed that up with a similar performance in Spielberg, which was his second race after Silverstone. The fact that Haas is hesitant to commit to Mick Schumacher beyond the completion of his current contract, which will expire at the end of this season, has resulted in the team having an open seat. The Haas team principal is not a fan of the consistency displayed by the 23-year-old driver, despite the fact that the driver's form has improved recently. He is of the opinion that Schumacher is a fantastic driver, but he is unsure of when Schumacher will be operating at his peak performance. As a result of a serious accident that occurred during the first 6 races, he was forced to withdraw from the Jeddah race in the qualifying round. The impact was so severe that it destroyed one of his chassis. Steiner then openly challenged Schumacher to improve his form if he wanted to stay, with a fine effort and probable run to the points being curtailed by an engine failure in Canada, before he scored points in Britain and Austria as his first in F1. Steiner's challenge came after Schumacher's likely run to the points in Canada was halted by an engine failure in Canada. Recently, there have been various rumors that have linked him to other teams, while other drivers have been linked to Haas. Daniel Ricciardo, a previous 8-time winner of the Grand Prix, is one of the drivers who has a chance to potentially replace Mick Schumacher for the upcoming season. Due to the uncertainty surrounding Schumacher's future with the team, there are a few drivers who have a chance to replace the German driver. Daniel Ricciardo, on the other hand, has endured a terrible year while competing for McLaren. Because of the poor quality of his performances, the club has decided to part ways with him at the conclusion of this season. As a direct consequence of this, the Australian won't have a spot in the 2023 competition. Ricciardo has a contract with McLaren through the year 2023, however, after 18 months of subpar results, with the exception of his win at the Italian Grand Prix this previous year, it appears that the Australian driver should part ways with the British team. Oscar Piastri, who is 21 years old and also from Australia, will take over the driving responsibilities from the well-known and renowned driver. The reality is that Danny Ricciardo could not get to grips with the quirky McLaren chassis, and the opportunity to move on sooner rather than later certainly prolongs his F1 career. Although some paddock watchers believe that McLaren has unfairly handled Ricciardo by firing him within a year left on his contract, this is not the case. In the event that McLaren suffers another disappointing year in 2023, Ricciardo will look like a guy from the past. Despite the fact that he hasn't been performing very well as of late, Daniel Ricciardo is still one of the most marketable drivers in the field. In addition to that, he has won 8 different races. Thus, the accomplishments he has achieved in racing speak for themselves. If they are successful in signing Ricciardo, it could be beneficial for Haas, but that can only happen if Schumacher leaves for another team. In light of the fact that a number of drivers are expected to be without a contract at the end of the upcoming season, Ricciardo has accepted the prospect that he would have to take a break from the sport for a year before making an attempt at a comeback in 2024. However, prior to the Hungarian Grand Prix, the driver who will be leaving McLaren had a conversation with Günther Steiner, the team principal of the Haas F1 team, regarding a possible transfer. It is common knowledge that Haas is considering Mick Schumacher's replacement with the Australian driver, who has a 50-50 chance of being kept on the team. While talking about Daniel, Steiner said, "In his situation, Daniel first has to decide for himself what to do. It makes little sense to persuade him to do something, he has to decide for himself. If he feels like it, he'll definitely call." The Haas team principal has made it crystal clear that the 33-year-old has to decide for himself what he wants to do next season, and ardently feels that the Australian would call him if he would like to do a season with Haas. Ultimately, Steiner denied that Daniel Ricciardo's salary could be a problem for Haas. According to him, the value automatically drops when the pilot runs out of other options, which may be the case for the Australian, who has already indicated he has no interest in racing in different categories. On the other hand, Günther admitted that it is not an easy task to find someone available to drive in the top type of motorsport. The Australian seems to be torn between both options. However, he did reveal on the Fitzy and Whippa radio show that he wants to be on the grid, so perhaps talks between himself and Haas might take a step forward. Haas may still keep Mick Schumacher alongside Kevin Magnussen, but Schumacher's future is far from assured after an inconsistent second-half F1 season that includes 2 major crashes. Although Steiner emphasized that it is a performance we have to witness from a driver who has only scored points twice this season, he added it was incorrect to presume Schumacher was headed for the exit door. Steiner praised the outstanding results of the Austrian and British Grand Prix and brushed off any suggestions of off-track conflict with him. However, Schumacher must be more reliable if Haas is persuaded by Michael's son, a 7-time long-term Formula One world winner. Steiner told the media, "You have to prove yourself here every day. Every day is a new day. It's a performance-based business. You have to prove yourself constantly. You can't have a race or two and say, now I'm a proven F1 driver. You need points all year round." Steiner has ruled out the prospect of re-signing a rookie after spending the 2021 season with Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. Steiner concluded, "He did very well in the last quarter before the summer break, so we have a few more races, and we have time to wait, and we are not in a hurry to make the decision." Ricciardo's opportunities for 2023 boil down to only a few choices. Yet history shows F1 drivers taking a break never achieve as much as they did during their first stint in the sport. That's all for today. Make sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. What do you anticipate from this latest scenario? Would there be any major changes in the Haas team? Tell us what you think in the comment section below. And until next time, stay safe on the road and see you then. Bye bye.